I bought a brand new mobile phone. It's the UMIDIGI Z Pro, and it did seem very good until I dropped it. So now it has a smashed screen. As you can see, that screen is quite well broken. I wonder if I can fix this, never having done this before, just by watching a YouTube video on the television or the internet while I'm doing it. So this is the video of me trying to replace this screen. I bought this screen off eBay for £35. It's in here, and it comes with a bag of tools. So the first thing to do before I bought the new screen, was to make sure that the phone actually still worked. So here it is, and using an on-the-go OTG cable plus the mouse from my laptop, I can use the touch screen. I can unlock it. I won't show you what my password is, but that has unlocked it, and there we are. It works perfectly alright, apart from the fact that the touch screen doesn't work. So, as I say, with a mouse and an OTG cable, I can move the mouse around, select whatever I want to select. I can I can select Play Store there. So as I say, using the OTG cable and a mouse from the laptop, you can see that the phone still works, but the touch screen doesn't. Okay. Right, now I had a search on eBay, and you can buy a new touch screen for about £10, 10 English pounds, from China. But the problem is, if anyone's following this to do the same as I'm doing, unless you have a specialist machine, do not do that, because the touch screen is glued to the display screen. So the other alternative is to buy the display screen and the touch screen already glued together, and that was 35 of your English pounds. The phone cost me 210 Great British Pounds, Great GBP. So I have a phone here that I paid £210 for, which is broken. I have a screen which I paid £35 for, which I'm going to attempt to put in this phone. And it could well be a bit of a silly thing to do, because instead of losing £210, I'm probably going to lose £245. But the upshot of it is, this phone is either going to be fixed or it's going to be toast. At least I'll know one way or the other. Right, well, we have a Sony smart television over there, and my collection of model Volkswagen transporters, and I have a real one as well. So there is YouTube, and there's one that says UMIDIGI Z, The UMIDIGI Z and the UMIDIGI Z Pro are very similar. I can't imagine that the strip down and repair for a Z will be much different to a Z Pro, but the screens are different, so don't go buying a UMIDIGI Z screen for a Z Pro or vice versa. So it's basically a case of look for the best YouTube video of how to do it, and if my video is successful, maybe you'll use mine. I took this phone for a walk. For some reason I took it out of its case and I dropped it. And I dropped it right on the edge at the bottom, just about there, and the cracks just went, well, as you see. But as we've already demonstrated, it literally is just the touch screen that's not working. Everything else is fine. So we have a kitchen table, a yellow chopping board, and a white A4 sheet of paper. The tools that came with the screen. Right, well, first of all, using the sim tool which came with the UMIDIGI in the UMIDIGI box, which is a very substantial box here. Remove the SIM card carrier, which is here. So push this in this little hole, and the SIM card carrier pops out. We'll put that away for later. Ha. Right, we're going to start by removing these two little torque screws on the end. Huh. Well, here's the first problem, that the kit that they send to specifically replace a UMIDIGI Z Pro does not fit the screws. Or does it? No, it doesn't. Well, that's really useful. Right, so I've ordered a set of screwdrivers on eBay. I'll go and play with the V-dub for a bit. This is my lovely assistant, Kira, who's going to help me fix this mobile phone. Aren't you, Kira? Yeah? Right, I'm watching the YouTube video on the smart TV, and he's just said after you take the two screws out, you then use your plastic tool, of which I've got two, yeah, to get in between the screen and the phone and lever the screen off. So now the phone will actually come apart, and you have to collect these two buttons which fall out. the power button and the volume button. Okay, alright, so this is the inside of it. It's quite a high spec phone, this. Well, it's got a 3,780 milliamp hour battery, which is quite a lot. I mean, it run for a couple of days without a charge. It's got 4 gigabytes of RAM, 32 gigabytes of internal storage ROM, and it can take an SD card and obviously a SIM card, and if you forego the SD card it can take 2 SIM cards. It's got a deca-core processor, which is 10 cores, unlike a lot of phones which have 8. It's got a dual camera at the rear, so you can do bokeh and various things. It's a Sony 13 megapixel dual camera, and on the front it's got a Samsung 13 megapixel camera. Apparently the screen before I broke it, I don't know what it's going to be replaced with, but the screen when you buy these originally are sharp. So it is quite a high-end phone. It was, to be honest, it was excellent. It even has an FM radio in it, which is how I came to break it, because I had the earphones in it on a wire, listening to the radio, took it out to take a photograph. The case slightly obscured the camera, so I took it out of its case, and then I snagged the wire with my other hand and pulled it out of my hand, and it dropped vertically onto tarmac, and hit the bottom of the screen and shattered, unfortunately. Right, I'll start watching a bit more of my YouTube video, and we'll carry on when I know what the next stage is. Okay, well, looking at the YouTube videos, there isn't one that actually shows you how to replace the screen in a UMIDIGI Z Pro. So I'll have to go for it. That's the top there. Oh, I don't know, let's take a few screws out, see what happens. Still got the battery in at the moment. I'm presuming that the screen is held on with these screws, so now this screwdriver that came with the screen does fit that screw. So that's useful. Right, that's good. So we're doing the bottom at the moment. 3 screws at the bottom. One, 2, 3. And then there's another 3 screws here. So we've no idea what we're doing. One, but they're all the same size. 2. Oops. 3. Right, okay. And then we've got some screws here. What's that? One with some sealant on it there, so they know if you take it out. Two, three. So that is this little thing here. Right. I don't know if we can or if we ought to get the battery out. Right then, there are little power connectors going across here. That's one of them. Is that the only one? I don't know what's under here. That might just be for the battery. Right, so we've had that power connector out there. Wonder what's holding the battery in. If anything. Oh, just a bit of glue. So that's the battery. That is the battery out, yeah? Right, okay. This is the new one. So it has well, it doesn't appear to have any screws, and it has two connectors. It has that one and that one. So one's going to be for the display and one is going to be for the touch. Right, so somewhere in there are those two connectors, but how does the screen actually attach to the phone? Well, we got this far, so I suppose we might as well go a bit further. I suppose we need to take these little silver ones out. Ouch, stuck. Right. One. I'm sure it'd be easier if you knew how to do it. Two. Three. Does that loosen anything up? careful not to move that camera. Okay, that one there. Right, okay. So that's disconnected the bottom from the top. I don't know, we've got connectors over here as well. We got that connector there. Is it a connector? Well, not exactly. Let them come off. Right then. No, that's a connector there. Right. So now we perhaps need to get this one off if we can without damaging it. Has definitely got to come off one way or another. Oh, hang on. Oh, that's all right. It's pulled out. Right. Okay. Right. Any more? Any more little connectors that we don't know about? What's this one here? So now I'm gonna end up having to watch this video to put it back together and film at the same time. What is that? I don't know which way to pull it or push it. No, that's alright, I think. Right. Now what? Now that one there, that's not disconnected. Okay, right. Soldered there, is it? Okay. It still isn't showing me how to change the screen. What is that? we have disconnected the screen. So how does it come apart from the phone? Aha. Okay. Right, what's that then? That's the fingerprint scanner. Do we actually need to disconnect the fingerprint scanner? So we do. Alright then. Okay, that's that then. Hope this video is getting all this because I need it to put it back together. Right, okay, so now that's the fingerprint scanner. So how do we get the screen off? Right, I've been out to the bin outside and held it over because it's all broken glass and everything. I have now got the old screen off, but there's still, it seemed to be glued in some way, and there's still bits of glass around the corners. But anyway, there's the old broken screen, which I think I'm going to go and put in the bin now. Now you've seen it on the video. Right, I've got a hairdryer and warm the bits of glass that wouldn't come off, taking it out to the bin and literally scraped all the glass off it from the corners and everywhere else. So this is the new screen. Here's the new screen. So we thread these connectors through this slot. We fold them down like that, thread these connectors through this slot. I've disconnected the screen. So how does it come apart from the phone? Aha. Okay. Right, what's that then? That's the fingerprint scanner. Do we actually need to disconnect the fingerprint scanner? So we do. Alright then. Okay, that's that then. Hope this video is getting all this because I need it to put it back together. Right, okay, so now that's the fingerprint scanner. So how do we get the screen off? Right, I've been out to the bin outside and held it over because it's all broken glass and everything. I have now got the old screen off, but there's still, it seemed to be glued in some way, and there's still bits of glass around the corners. But anyway, there's the old broken screen, which I think I'm going to go and put in the bin now. Now you've seen it on the video. Right, I've got a hairdryer and warm the bits of glass that wouldn't come off, taking it out to the bin and literally scraped all the glass off it from the corners and everywhere else. So this is the new screen. Here's the new screen. So we thread these connectors through this slot. We fold them down like that, thread these connectors through this slot. Okay, then the screen is in place there. Now that's it. But after seeing that, I'm assuming that I need to put some glue on it or something. Because it's not going to stay there, is it? So presumably a little bit of glue around the edge. I don't know. It wasn't stuck in the middle. It was only stuck at the edge as far as I could see. I don't know whether normal glue will do it or... Right, well, with the screen is now attached to the chassis of the phone. I've no idea whether I did the right thing or not, but I put a little dab of glue in each corner, so I don't know whether that's not enough or over the top, but anyway, hopefully the screen is now attached and I've got the connectors coming out. Now, what is obvious to me now is that if I'd have known what I was doing, there's a lot of this I didn't need to take apart. So all the stuff at the bottom I took off, and I really didn't need to. So I've made myself a much bigger job. But I'm going to have a go at putting it back together. I don't hold out a lot of hopes, but I'm going to have a go. This screen's got a reason it looks strange is it's got some protective plastic over it while we work on it. So well, that's good. Yeah, so now to remember how we took it apart. I was going to start by putting this section of circuitry, no doubt the whole brains of the whole thing, back in. So I threaded the connector for the screen in, and so I pushed that into there. That's the lower one. So that orange thing there, I've pushed that in there. I haven't started putting the screws back in yet. These two wires here, well, I'll solder them on later. Right, so I'm starting by putting these silver screws back. No, Kira, I am starting putting these silver screws back in. Well, that's your opinion. Right, so we've put in that silver screw, that silver screw. Yeah, we've still got all the screws. There were 6 out the bottom, weren't there? What? Right, there were 6 out the... No, yeah, there were 6... What? Right, I'm not neglecting Kira while all this is going on. We have been out for a walk this morning, and then not so long ago we've been in the van down to the local sports ground and walked all around the fields around there and met some other dogs and whatever. So I'm not quite sure why she's barking at me, but never mind. Right, so this contraption here went in the bottom, just there. This is going to be the least professional how to fix a phone video that you're going to find on YouTube, because we really do not know what we're doing here, me or Kira. Right. Alright, so that goes on there. So that's pretty much held in place now. That connector, I hope, has gone into the right place. And then this one here, so the orange one there is one part of the screen, and then this one here is the other. So one of them's the display, one of them's the touch. I've no idea which is which, but I would guess that the bottom one is the display and the top one is the touch, because I think I saw that type of connector on eBay on just the touch screen that you can buy. So this put my eyepiece in. Right, this thing here, this connector here goes on here. Now I imagine that all these are assembled by robots and they're not meant for mere mortals to take to pieces and try to put back together. So there's a good chance that this won't go in the right place, and if it doesn't go in the right place it's going to bend a load of pins. Has it bent any pins? Well, maybe they're not that sort of bendable pins, maybe it sort of snaps in somehow, I think. It's this is not a job to be taken on lightly. and I can't really pass it to anyone else to do now because I didn't reset it to factory settings, so it's got all my passwords in for Facebook and emails and everything else, so I can't really give it to anyone else. I should have done a factory reset on it, but I thought, well, you know, then I'll have to reset it all up again, so I didn't. So I can't really give it to anyone else to fix. Think about that when you send your mobile phone in or computer in for repair, that whoever repairs it's going to be able to see your emails, your Facebook, everything. Now, I think that may have snapped in, I'm not quite sure. And then we've got this bracket. Which I can't remember whether this bracket was. I think actually I put a screw in there when I shouldn't have done. I think this is the bracket. So this first screw that I put in, I'll take back out again and try and put this bracket on. I think that's where it went. And as I say, I think I've taken a lot of stuff to pieces that I didn't need to take to pieces purely because I didn't know what I was doing. Right, okay. Right, that should be... Right, we're making mistakes as we go. This bit here, that bit there that I put on, I can't put that on until I put the battery back in, because the battery connects there underneath that plate. So I really need to do all the connections before I put the battery back in. So that we'll have to leave that clamp off for the time being. Right then, so there's a connector here which this here, I've no idea how to get in there. It looks like it's got to sort of go in this little slot. There's a little slot for it there. Right, I've got that connector in. Where the hell are we? Oh, yeah. Got that connector in. It's this little one there, this little orange one there. I'll push that in now while the camera was off, so I could say a few choice swear words while I pushed it in. Right, so I think that's that now, as far as I'm aware. So the next thing to do is start to reassemble the bottom, and then we get these connectors from the bottom here. So that will somehow go in like that. Right. But I can't quite remember how. Right, so the fingerprint scanner has actually come out of the phone now. So we want to put this circuit board back in, and the fingerprint scanner joins on this little connector just there. So we're going to do that. So we put the fingerprint scanner underneath and plug the connector into the top of this circuit board. Right, okay, fingerprint scanner reconnected. Right, so now we can push the fingerprint scanner into the hole where it should be. And then this circuit board here is the USB-C connector. This phone has a USB-C connector, not a mini USB. Which is why I had to have this little adapter on my OTG cable. This little thing here goes from mini USB to USB-C. So now put the other 6 screws back in. Ah, that's a little bit that came off from somewhere. A little bit of rubber here. That must have been somehow on here. Don't want any bits left over. I can't honestly see how it fits. Hello, Kira. Yeah. Okay, continuing on. That little bit of black rubber actually goes over that little pin there and also under this screw here. So I've just taken this off and just threaded it onto this little silver peg and then lined it up so it's on that little silver peg and that screw goes through it. Not quite sure why. Right then, so make sure that this black lead comes out this side of this screw, because this little black lead is going to plug onto this bit here. Oh, can't we see it? Onto this bit there. It's not that, it's this little round thing with a peg in the middle. It clips over that. Yeah, that's right, it's in. Right, okay. Now then, this wire then tucks in the side, out of the way of the battery, I think. So we took that down the side there. matter if it's under the battery, so what? Right, okay. It's on anyway. So then, this bottom bit, which is the USB C connector, goes over here. There's a little one that goes on here, I believe, like that, and then an even littler one that goes on this little diddy thing here. Ah, can you still see it? Have I got it in the picture? Right, so that one went on here, just there, and then this little diddy one here goes on this socket here. Oh, feeling a bit more confident now. Now we put the battery back in. No we don't, we put this bracket back on. No we don't, we put the battery back in before we put that bracket back on. We put the battery back in. Right, so this is the battery. That's its little connector just there, which goes on there. I have to make this video because nobody will believe me if I say I've changed the screen on a mobile phone. Just took this, can we still see? Yeah, you can still see. Right, I took this down here, like so. Yeah, right, no, it's stuck back up again. It's always a simple thing, isn't it? Get down there. Right, okay. Right, push the battery in. And then put the battery connector on there. Okay, that's the battery back in and the connector back on. Put the bracket back on. It needs to go under that there. You still see what I'm doing? Where are we? There. Needs to go under that there. No, there, yeah. Like that. Right. Yeah, still need to solder those two wires on, but maybe they don't matter for the time being. So where would the buttons be? The buttons would be this side. So how do they work? They must just press on something. That button there, no. This button here. Where is it? And of course I don't know, I've no idea whether the screen I bought is okay or not. I mean, it's certainly the right one on the grounds that it fits, but whether it's actually we have a display. Look, we have a display. UMIDIGI. Android. Oh no, here we go. Ah, looks like it might have done a system reset. Yeah, a red one and a black one. Right, well, I've soldered the, you didn't need to see me soldering wires on. I've soldered the two wires on just there where I'm pointing with a screwdriver. Soldered those two wires on, and here's the phone. Go into Play Store. Gallery. Kira in the sea. I would say that the display is not as good as it was originally. In fact, it's really not as good as it was originally. But that could be because I've bought cheap replacement screen off eBay. I don't know. So we've still got to put the back on. So we have a volume up and down button which goes in here, just there. We have an on-off button which goes in there. Right, the buttons are working, fingerprint scanner's working. Display's working. Let's see if the SIM card holder goes in. Yeah, it looks like it will. So that's it. One repaired phone.